this is Studio, and I have imported The Great Gatsby into Studio. Lots of different characters, and if I wanted a different 11 Labs voice for every single character, it would take me literally hours to go through and actually assign all of them. But when I was importing, if I just show you the flow, so I clicked create an audiobook. I downloaded like an EPUB version of The Great Gatsby, and then I tick this box here, auto assign voices, like this. I did this about 10 minutes before the live stream, and it took about 5 minutes total, so pretty quick, even for like a full book. And then I came in here, and in each chapter, we have dialogue using all these different characters. And I've got an example here that I set up so you can hear what this sounds like. If I play audio, can you tell me if you can hear this? I thought I had generated this already, but it's just
Hello,
generating
Wilson,
now.
old man,
Ah,
said Tom, slapping him jovially.
okay, I'm not sure why it's not quite playing, but yes, you can hear it. The volume's low. Okay. Let me try again.
I can't complain,
Answered Wilson unconvincingly.
when are you going to sell me that car?
Is that coming through okay? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we got all these different characters assigned automatically. So this is a feature we're really like excited about. You should definitely try this out. That leads me on to another of the features, which is this new voice panel here, and giving you a lot of control over individual voices. So, for example, we have this chunk here, which is from the narrator, and I'm using this voice called Jay, which is designed for audiobooks. Now, if I click this settings icon, I can change every single instance of Jay's voice. So I can actually change the volume and make Jay quieter than other characters. I can go faster or slower, which is a brand new feature I'll get onto in a second. We can change the stability and the similarity of generations. And if there's like a particular style, if there's a particular style of voice, we can actually sort of amp that up or bring it down. So if I change any of these here for this voice, it will change all of them, all of the instances of that. But what I can also do is I can select this paragraph and I can change the settings just for this paragraph. So if I click override settings, now I'm editing this block only. And let's say I actually want to make this quite a lot slower. And I also want him to be a bit quieter. Actually, let's go louder because some of you said in the Discord that it was a bit quiet. And I'll exaggerate the style just a little bit. And I'm going to generate that again, which will take a moment. And this should now play a slower version at a louder volume of this chunk of text. This is a slightly longer paragraph, and as is always the case with live demos, things take longer than they should and sometimes don't work as expected, but this should play in a second.
His voice faded off, and Tom glanced impatiently around the garage. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs, and in a moment...
And so that is a fair bit slower. It's about 80% of the speed of this other section, which is at a more normal pace. And I'm not sure why each of these blocks is... There we go.
Prosperous and bare. The only car visible was the dust-covered wreck of a Ford which crouched in a dim corner. It had occurred...
So yeah, I know from being in the Discord myself for a few weeks that speed controls were like a very popular request. Changing how quickly someone is speaking can make them sound like excited and anxious, or if you slow them down, it can like really like change like the delivery and the impact of what they're saying. So yeah, we're really excited about speed controls, and just announced this. We announced it yesterday, but it's been live for like 2 or 3 days. So some of you might have spotted it before the announcement. So yeah, really, really excited about all of that. another feature that I wanted to show you, a small one, but a powerful one, is the break feature. So you can see here, for example, there's like just an M dash, and if we actually want to specify how long we want the voice to pause for, previously you would do that with a slash command. These slash commands are sort of like a power user tool. Some of you might have known about them, and some of you might not have had any idea that you could press slash and find these extra tools. But now there's a pause, or like a break button up here. So I can add a break here, and I can say, actually, I want them to stop talking for, I think it's between like 0 and 3 seconds, I think is the limit. But I can specify this in like quite specific detail. And that just gives you like even more control over the delivery of these voices. Something that we've heard from a lot of you that are using Studio is that you sometimes have to like export the audio from ElevenLabs, put it into something like Logic or Audacity or any audio editor, and then you'll do some sort of fine-tuned editing in your audio editor. And I guess just to give you like a glimpse of what's coming in Studio, we want this to be your like full AI audio editor. So we want to get to a point where you do not need to like open another app in order to get the vocals and the sound that you want. So we got more stuff coming in the next few weeks. The Studio team are extremely busy. We will be integrating some of the other tools in the ElevenLabs ecosystem. Some of these tools might be coming into Studio as well. But yeah, you can expect a lot of changes over the next few weeks to Studio, and it's going to get even more powerful. So another feature I wanted to show you is the podcast feature, which we have called GenFM. So with GenFM, you can upload a file, or you can actually just import a URL, and we'll have 1 or 2 voices talk about that subject matter. So you can have conversation. You can say, I want a short conversation or a long conversation, or you can just have a bulletin, which is one host just sort of talking you through a piece of information. And I've got an example here, which is actually based on a hackathon project that some of you might have seen just a couple of weeks ago that went completely viral and is all over the internet at the moment. We hosted a hackathon all over the world in 8 locations. And at the London hackathon, 2 people built Gibberlink, which is like a protocol for AI agents to talk to one another using like beeps and boops. Basically, it sounds like R2D2. It's very cool. And so what I've done is I've gone to the ElevenLabs blog. So we wrote a blog sort of explaining like what had happened and what it was. And I pasted that into GenFM. And so now I have this conversation between 2 characters, Chris and Jessica. Again, I can change any of the settings for either of them in here, or I can select an entirely different voice here. And they're having a full conversation about this blog post, and I can export this and I could upload this as a podcast. So I'll play you a sample of this so you can hear what it sounds like. One thing I didn't have time to do was change the pronunciation of Gibberlink. So you are going to hear Chris and Jessica talk about Gibberlink. If I wanted to change that right now, I think I would upload like a pronunciation file, and I would do that by going into settings, and then I could upload a file. Soon we'll have like an editor within the app, so you can like change individual words. But for now, just be patient with Gibberlink.
Imagine a world where AI assistants communicate in their own secret language, bypassing human speech entirely. Well, that future might be closer than we think, thanks to a groundbreaking development called Gibberlink.
Whoa, hold on a second. AI assistants with their own language? That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. What's the story behind this?
So, at the recent
Okay, that's very interesting. I don't know if one of the team managed to jump in here and fix that for me, but it was saying Gibberlink before, and that time it said Gibberlink. Also, did anyone else notice that the text says sci-fi, but Jessica said science fiction? I wasn't expecting that to happen, but yeah, this is a really cool feature. You can basically like create podcasts about absolutely anything you want. And what's cool is that if you have already cloned your voice using either the instant voice cloning or the professional voice cloning, you could have a podcast spoken by yourself about any topic. So yeah, loads of potential here, and just lots of exciting possibilities. Something else I wanted to show you that you might not be aware of is we've actually built some keyboard shortcuts. So a bunch of new shortcuts. Some of you I know are spending hours and hours in Studio, and this will hopefully save you a little bit of time. Like Command Enter as play pause is quite a nice one. You can also change like the speed that your generation is playing at, the whole generation, by pressing like Command Shift and right. So if I press Command Shift right, you'll see this speed indicator here for the whole playback go up and down like that. So let's go back to Gatsby, and let's say instead of using an audiobook that I didn't write, let's imagine for a second that this was an audiobook I'd written. Now, how do I get that audiobook in front of the most listeners? And how do I monetize that audiobook? Well, we launched two really exciting features in the last couple of weeks for audiobook authors. And they are behind this export button. So I can export this as a file. I can do the full project, or I can do an individual chapter. I can do it as MP3 or WAV. But now I can also publish to Spotify and to Eleven Reader, and also to Audio Native. So let me talk you through each of these. With Spotify, we have teamed up with Spotify and their company called Findaway Voices. Findaway Voices is an audiobook distribution platform. I'll just jump in here and show you very quickly. It's owned by Spotify, and it helps authors basically distribute their audiobooks across like multiple platforms, including Spotify. And then it gives you analytics on like who is listening to your audiobook, and it helps you track your earnings from those various platforms. If you are a musician, you might have come across a tool like DistroKid, for example, where you upload an MP3 and then they'll put it out on all the music platforms. I've been describing Findaway Voices as like DistroKid for audiobook authors. So if I click Spotify here, it's going to walk me through the flow. I will basically export this audiobook as an LPF file, and then I'll open up Findaway and I will upload the LPF. So I can choose like the names of up to 5 narrators that will get credited. I can choose which chapter I want to use as like the preview when this goes on Spotify. And then when this is live on Spotify, there will actually be like a piece of text added automatically that says this audiobook is narrated by a digital voice narrator. So this is quite a big deal because this is like one of the first times that Spotify is actually accepting AI voices as narrators for their audiobooks. And it's just a huge breakthrough for like indie authors, because we would all love to have professional human voice actors read out our content, but it is very costly to hire them, to hire a studio. It takes like days to do a whole book, and you only get it in one language. And so with ElevenLabs and now this partnership with Spotify, it's possible for any author to get their content in front of like a huge global audience at a very, very low cost compared to how much it would cost to hire professional voice actors. I just heard some noises come through from Discord. I'm not sure what they were, but I'm gonna keep talking, and I'm gonna assume that Mateusz and Jonathan are on the chat. Yes, someone has noticed how many credits I have on my account. So this is one of the perks of working at ElevenLabs is yeah, I have 12 billion credits. I'm not gonna flex that too much, but I'm not at risk of running out for a while. We are actually going to be running a giveaway on Instagram, I think next week, where 6 people will be getting a free year of the Pro plan. So if you don't already follow us on Instagram and TikTok, then our handle is I think it's just ElevenLabs.io. So keep an eye out for that, and you might get a free year of ElevenLabs. So that's the Spotify partnership. The other option that we added just last week was Eleven Reader as well. So Eleven Reader, if I show you this, is our mobile app, and users can pull in like any book or article, any PDF, like any text file. They can pull into our iOS or Android app, and then they can have it read out in like any voice they want at any speed. So if you love the sound of your own voice, you could actually listen to all of your content read out by yourself. I don't think many people would want that. Yeah, it's not going to be popular, but it's possible. But this app is starting to get a lot of traction. We've got a lot of people using Eleven Reader. I'm not allowed to tell you how many, but it's a lot. And so what you can do now as an author through Studio is you can publish directly to Eleven Reader. And basically in the app, users will be able to like discover your content and listen to it when they are in the sort of browsing section of Eleven Reader. So we sort of walk you through what's going to happen. You do one final review in our separate app called ElevenLabs Publishing. Then you can preview the audio yourself and just check you like it. And then you can hit publish, and you will actually make money when people are listening to your content in Eleven Reader as well. So if I click this, then it'll ask me to go through and sort of finish exporting. And then I'll be taken through to the publisher just to kind of finally check everything over. So yeah, big updates for audiobook authors in Studio just in the last couple of weeks. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go through in terms of demoing features. So we've still got another like 7 minutes. So if there are any questions, then do fire away in the chat, and I will try to answer them. Or if they're sort of more technical questions, Mateusz will jump in. So yeah, Mateusz has made a really good point there. Like our goal is to basically incorporate voices, sound effects, and music inside Studio, so that you can create like a fully immersive experience. So like when something happens in your audiobook, the AI will detect that and suggest different sound effects that you could use. You might have like ambient sound effects in the background. So you might have like the sound of soft rain or like a forest sort of soundscape. And you might also want music playing, like perhaps a character walks into a tavern, and you have sort of like some folk music playing and like the sound of like glasses clinking and like chattering in the background. Like it's an incredibly exciting time to be like creating audio because the possibilities have just sort of exploded in the last couple of years. So yeah, we think Studio is going to be the place where you can create these like very immersive audio experiences. And we also are going to be pulling in like more powerful audio editing tools inside this app as well. So right now this app is very like text focused, but over the next few weeks and months, you'll see this app become more similar to like audio apps and editors that you might be used to, you know, with some sort of like audio track here and the ability to, you know, split clips and all of that. Are there any other questions? In terms of like the giveaway on Instagram, we will post about that several times. So as long as you're following us and maybe like switch on notifications, then you will find out about the giveaway. Any new alpha projects we're working on that we can tell you about? I don't think we're not really allowed to talk about stuff that's not out yet. I mean, you won't be surprised to hear that like we're always working on the underlying models that generate the voices, and they're getting better every single day. So you can expect like even higher quality voices to come. But yeah, there's a lot happening at ElevenLabs, and we had a whole company all hands meeting yesterday. And even I, as someone that works here, I'm still discovering like new projects and new initiatives that are going on at ElevenLabs. So yeah, just keep an eye on your emails. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, you will see lots of new stuff coming in the next few weeks. Let me just go through the chat. There are some more technical questions here that I'm going to let Mateusz and Jonathan jump in on. The ability to like have voices whisper or shout, yes. Similar to the question underneath that, actually, like even more controllable emotions. We are working on ways to like let you customize voices even further. And yeah, I can't say much more about that at the moment, but I know that in the coming months there's going to be some like big improvements to the ways in which you can manipulate and sort of like change your voices. Question from Simon. So you feel like there's a lack of production quality, consistent and diverse voices outside of American English. That's a very good point. So I mean, yes, as a company, our founders are Polish, and we have headquarters in London and New York. So I think naturally a lot of the early focus was on the English language, but we are now rapidly growing all languages, and we want to offer the same quality to every single language, and not just language, but dialect as well. So you might have seen last week we launched Scribe, which is our speech to text model, and we actually launched that in 99 different languages, and we massively improved the quality of transcription in underserved languages. For example, Serbian and Mongolian did not have very good speech to text offerings until now. So I agree with you. Like we've got more work to do in terms of like improving the range of voices and dialects and languages available. So it's coming, and yes, it's a good point. There's a question on pronunciations. Mateusz, I'm going to let you take that. There's a question on the Scribe API. You've asked next news on Scribe's API. So we did launch Scribe, and we did launch it with an API last week. So we think that is doing everything that it needs to do. But if there's a more specific question on Scribe, let me know, and I'll see if I can answer that for you. Question on when will there be support for music creation? Very good question. So we have sort of teased the music creation at various points over the last year, and we are very close to launching music. We want to get it right, and we want to do it properly. So I can't give you a sort of delivery date on it, but it's very soon, and it's very good. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Someone has asked about ambient backgrounds. That's coming. So our sound effects tool does do sort of ambient sound. I've played with it a lot, but it is limited in like the length of clip. So I can't remember the exact limit, but it might be something like 20 seconds. So you cannot create sort of 5 minutes of ambient music. But I know that we're working on like looping sounds. So we'll generate a sound that the like loops round, so the end and the start are sort of tied together. Yeah, personally, I've been exploring like creating guided meditations with ElevenLabs, and like taking it to the next level would involve soft rain and like the sound of water and like thunder and all of that. So yeah, that's something that I am keen for as well, and I think it's coming soon. Let me just catch up on these questions. We're pretty much out of time actually. I'm not gonna. I'm not the best person to answer the Scribe API questions, but we've posted quite a lot about it on our. We have an ElevenLabs developers account on Twitter, so I would suggest like getting in touch with them or replying to some of the tweets, and they can help you out. Simon, thank you so much for the kind feedback on Studio. We'll pass that on to the Studio team. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I hope you learned something new. Cheers, Jay. Yeah, I hope you learned something new. Hope you enjoyed this. We've got lots of exciting stuff coming. I wish I could tell you about it. Just not allowed to tell you some of the top secret stuff. But yeah, keep your eyes on Discord, on X, on Instagram, and have a great weekend. See you later. Bye.